with U.S. immigration. Can Donald Trump give you a green? Hey guys, before you file for your spouse, hey guys, come on in. Type in freedom now, freedom now. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law. We have some important news to catch up on today about what happened in our country this week. Friends, a lot has happened around the country this week. We're going to talk about some of those events, including some breaking news that just came out. Come on in, type in freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. Come on in and say where you're joining from. That's better. All right. Excellent. Guys, we are here for you. Our phone number is certainly on the screen here. It's 914-898-9488. And you could also reach us at info@mcbeanlaw.com, where we are in the office every day, Monday through Friday, I should say, between 9 and 6 p.m. But our phone lines are open Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and then also on Saturday and Sundays from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. where you can call us to book your appointment. All right. Guys, so much is going on, but the biggest news breaking news, is the fact that Kilmar Abrego Garcia is actually back in the United States. He landed in the United States today. The government quietly worked on a plan over the last several weeks, from what I've been reading, to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia back to the United States. However, he has come back. He has returned to face major charges that the government has against him, including trafficking thousands of migrants in a conspiracy that ABC News is indicating spanned a decade, right? According to ABC News, and I'm just reading the article, which is right on this side of my screen here, that he is back in the United States and he faces a 2-count indictment, okay, which was filed under seal in federal court in Tennessee last month and unsealed on Friday. It alleges that he participated in a years-long conspiracy to haul undocumented migrants from Texas to the interior of the country. And it further says that the alleged conspiracy spanned nearly a decade and involved the domestic transfer of thousands of non-citizens from Mexico and Central America, including some children, in exchange for thousands of dollars, according to the indictment. So this is big breaking news that, yes, the government did, in fact, facilitated his return, although it took too long, right? Took a very long time, and now they've brought him back to face some very serious charges. So that is the very big breaking news that I believe everyone is talking about right now. Come on in, guys. Say hello and say freedom now. Today, I'm covering some breaking news in addition to some things that happened this week. It's good to see you. Thank you. Let me know your thoughts below, guys, about the news as I share the information. Share your opinion on what's going on as well. This is a forum where your voice matters, okay? Thank you guys for always being here. Hey there, Joy. Thank you so much. Now, let's go into the other big issues that occurred here in the United States this week involving immigration. Friends, it has to do with the fact that ICE has arrested over 100,000 people so far since President Trump took office. In his first 137 days, the administration has arrested over 100,000 people, averaging 730 arrests per day, which is more than double the average under the Biden administration in 2024. And the pace has accelerated, as we have all seen played out this week through various protests in some sanctuary cities, so to speak, like Chicago and New York. And we're going to talk about what happened in those places. But the pace has accelerated with over 2,000 daily arrests recently. And as we've talked about, the government they have a new mandate. ICE has a new mandate of 3,000 arrests per day. And I've even seen that threats were made to fire senior level ICE agents in various field offices across the country if they do not meet the new quota. And to reach this number, guys, this 3,000 daily arrest target, ICE is using support from DEA and FBI. We've all seen them out there with ICE. And to date, 54,000 people are currently being detained in ICE facilities, which is a record high. Of course, we're watching the progression of the big, beautiful bill through Congress on the Senate side, which calls for a tremendous, tremendous amount of money to DHS to facilitate the hiring of more agents and doing much bigger enforcement activities with through ICE and other law enforcement agencies. So the big, beautiful bill, that's where the resources will come from to add more jail space or detention facilities. Another, along those lines, friends, through an operation called Operation at Large, which the Independent has reported out on here, and it's also on this side here. ICE operation calls for 5,000 federal agents and 21,000 National Guard troops to make deportation arrests. Now, the Department of Defense from what I'm reading, has not yet agreed to allow 21,000 National Guards to join in these deportation efforts. But as you can see, they are trying to ramp up and pull resources from everywhere, even including 250 law enforcement agents from the IRS to be involved in the coordinated effort to deport more people, to arrest and deport more people. There is a level of desperation, of course, that we're all seeing played out across the country, okay, with regard to the fact that there's this 3,000 a day arrest data per day. And the fact that, guys, remember, if you've really been paying attention, you would have heard me say in a video a while back that during the Biden years in September of 2024, Biden officials testified before Congress and provided a letter to Congress, a congressional committee, outlining the fact that there are over 600,000 criminal aliens in the United States that ICE knows about. And in that letter, it outlined the types of convictions and all of that, and all very, very serious convictions. And so that information was disclosed a very long time ago. And so the question is, well, in the beginning, the Trump administration talked about the fact that they're going to go after criminal aliens, very serious criminal aliens. Why aren't they doing that? There are so many that they purportedly know about. And the Biden officials said, yeah, we know about these individuals. So why aren't they targeting them? Why are they targeting the teenagers, the regular people who are going to check in, people who are actually cooperating with prosecution? They're going to court. They're trying to defend themselves to get a green card in court, yet they're being blindsided by these courthouse arrests. Why are they doing all of that? I think it's because they are desperate now, based on the new demands and the new quota that's coming out of the White House, okay? And we saw this played out this week in Chicago, where it's being reported, and I saw a video by an immigration attorney. in Chicago who said that her client, along with other people, received text messages from ICE saying, you need to come in and do an early check-in. We want to bring you, come in and let's talk about your case. This is a check-in. Many people are checking in with ICE because many people who have a removal order have are being monitored by ICE through a check-in process. Even some who do not have a removal order actually might be subjected to this check-in. But for most people, it's an annual check-in. For some others, it's a 6-month check-in. And these are typically individuals who ICE is not seriously worried about, so to speak, like leaving the United States, not leaving the United States, I'm sorry, people who they're not concerned will just go off somewhere and disappear. They're monitoring these individuals. They're low level, not dangerous, usually dangerous, not dangerous people. So they call folks in Chicago saying, come on in, you need a check-in, a routine check-in, but this is early. And then we saw it played out whereby they actually arrested these individuals. They didn't get a chance to go home. And so Chicago had, advocates and some other folks, just random people, I think, also from the streets, were protesting about what was going on at the field office there in Chicago. Those detained had received texts earlier in the week to appear for check-ins. Witnesses say the detainees stopped responding to calls after entering the building, only to be seen later being led into vans by masked agents. All right. And so the arrest triggered swift backlash from Chicago's immigrant advocacy groups and officials, drawing around 50 protesters, including city council members. Remember also that the government is trying to make a point by carrying out certain unorthodox enforcement activities in sanctuary cities, because they want to kind of shake things up in sanctuary cities to show that, hey, if you don't cooperate with us and get into agreement with us, officially get into an agreement with us, we're going to shake some things up and do some unorthodox things like what we're seeing now played out that had played out in Chicago. Then we saw, this is another one. This was here in New York. As a matter of fact, I had a consultation with someone earlier this week who was coming from Manhattan and said, she told me, this is what I saw going on close to where I work in Manhattan. ICE agents were arresting people and there was a protest, and it was really scary. But this individual, she actually has a green card. So here in New York, so just generally, we know that ICE detained over 2,200 people in a single day on Tuesday. On Tuesday, they detained over 2,000 people, and many of those arrested were already part of the Alternatives to Detention program, which monitors low-risk, undocumented immigrants through ankle monitors, phone apps, and regular check-ins. Witnesses and attorneys report that ICE used mass text messages, again, this is New York, to summon individuals for early check-ins, only to arrest them upon arrival. In New York City, families witnessed loved ones, some with children, led away in cuffs by masked officers in unmarked vehicles. New York City, okay? And ICE claims that those who were arrested had final deportation orders, and some attorneys are disputing this. So that's New York, guys. Now, let's see, there's another big issue, another big news happened here in New York. New York City files legal challenge against ICE over the arrest of a Bronx student, a 20-year-old Bronx high school. Well, I don't know how he's still in high school at the age of 20. That's what this is saying in front of me. My colleague is saying, yes, that is what the article says. Anyway, so 20-year-old Bronx high school student was arrested at a routine asylum hearing, okay, and placed in an expedited deportation proceedings, friends. This is during his asylum hearing. And this the lawsuit targets top officials, including the heads of DHS and ICE, arguing that his detention violates due process rights and lacks legal justification. And he was doing everything right to go through the legal process, and then he was arrested during his legal process at a hearing, which is really a good point, a good place to remind you guys. And we're placing in the comments, we're going to let you guys know that you really need to grab a hold of a resource that I've made available to you, and we talked about it live earlier this week about know before you go to immigration court. Here's what you need to know about what ICE is doing and the hearings, and how who they're targeting at these hearings for to be arrested. Guys, watch the live session. My colleague just posted in the comments the video, the live session where I broke down these details for you, and including what questions you need to ask in immigration court. If you're there by yourself, there are 3 key questions you need to ask, including why is this being dismissed? And then secondly, what circumstances have changed in my case that is making the government ask for the dismissal of my case? And I also mentioned the fact that you have to have an application on file with the court, because there's no reason for a judge to keep your case open and active in court on his or her docket if you do not have something filed with the court. And so watch that video, and then also get this free download that we've made available for you. It's on our website, McBeanlaw.com/free. Okay. Grab a hold of this and read it very carefully. It also talked about, guys, screenshot this and then go to McBeanlaw.com/free and just download it. But in this this Know Before You Go, which is a resource from the American Immigration Lawyers Association, it talked about the fact that there are certain documents that individuals need to have on them, copies of certain documents to prove that you've been in the United States more than 2 years, because expedited removal happens just like that, like within a day. Most people are deported, believe it or not, right? Within a day, it happens so fast. So you've got to be prepared to show proof that you've been in the United States for longer than 2 years. Now, this guide, what you will also see in this guide, which I don't think I did such a great job earlier of covering with you, but so I'm doing it now. In that guide, friends, it will also tell you that if you've been in the it's possible that you could be targeted for expedited removal, even though you've been in the United States for more than 2 years. You will see that. That was written by the American Immigration Lawyers Association, okay? It says that individuals who entered under one of the Biden parole programs or CBP-1 app, who are in the United States for longer than 2 years, are also the target for expedited removal. So download that free guide and prepare yourself adequately. I had also shared with you guys earlier this week some free resources to help you if you cannot afford private legal counsel like us or another lawyer. And you're living in New York and you're in removal proceedings. New York Legal Aid Society, I don't know what capacity they have these days to take on more cases, but they do have a program, okay, the New York Immigrant Family Unit Project, that helps some detained individuals. This is for the detained docket, okay, detained individuals if you qualify under their program. I have no idea what their criteria is, but if you qualify for legal representation through that program, that's how it could help you, okay? So screenshot this, because the email address is there for you to contact them if you're in New York City. Even if your case is in New Jersey, as so long as you're a New York City resident, this program, again, I don't know their resources. They might be able to assist you. I had also shared with you guys that if there's a way for you to locate a detained person. This is the website here, ice.gov/ODLS. Screenshot this, okay? And then I had shared with you guys earlier this week about the family support hotline. If you have children and you have not set some things in order yet and you have an ICE check-in or you have an immigration court hearing in person, have this number, get this number in front of you, save it in your phone. It's 855-435-7693. I've called it earlier this week and it works. This family support hotline for those of you who need help coordinating some things with your family. And then lastly, the other resource you really need to know is this EOIR. This is Immigration Court System, the automated system that will tell you when your next hearing is, because you do not want to miss your hearing. If you miss your hearing, friends, you will get a removal order issued against you and overly complicate your life and circumstances. Okay, so screenshot this as well. I'm spending so much time on this. Why? Because, and this is the guide here, it's 4 helpful resources for immigrants facing expedited removal. Because it's so important that you get information, okay? Because we saw over 2,000 people were arrested on Tuesday alone. San Francisco, there was activity this week in San Francisco as well involving ICE arrests. They arrested at least 15 people, including children, at immigration ICE check-ins, okay? It was reported out that a child as young as 3 years old was arrested by ICE in San Francisco on Wednesday during routine immigration check-ins, and the detainees are from countries like Guatemala, Brazil, and Vietnam, and they were in the middle of their immigration proceedings, and everything had ended abruptly for them. Many of those, this is what the article is saying, many of those who were arrested were families appealing their immigration cases, some of whom were simply updating their contact information as requested. So that's some folks were moved to detention centers in Arizona and Oregon, and then others, family members can't even locate their loved ones. Okay, so that's why it's so important that you guys have the resource there that I just shared with you. And then Kansas City, this week again, people were arrested by ICE during their routine hearings. Okay, and according to the NPR article here, it says that a new Trump administration initiative is intensifying deportations by targeted non-citizens at immigration courthouses, included in Kansas City, which created a lot of fear and confusion. And under this new ICE tactic, some immigrants are arriving at court only to have their cases again terminated, which in the past would have been a great thing. Not so today, for some people. And then they are immediately arrested for expedited removal. All right. So now in Kansas City, it says here that some people are skipping court altogether. They're just not going. So the show up rate has dropped. Okay, showing up to court has dropped that rate, and so the judges are issuing more in absentia removal orders, which is really a very dangerous thing to get. Okay, because it's very difficult to reopen a case in which a removal order has been issued against you in your absence. A very difficult process. But it works, okay? And we've done it successfully for some people, but it's really, really difficult. So here's the thing. You've got to do a WebEx motion or work with someone, hire someone who knows how to do this, but you need to ask for a motion to appear by WebEx so that you wouldn't have to show up in court. And we've been doing that. We've been doing that. And what we're talking about, guys, we're experiencing as well. We're getting detained folks calling us. We're doing emergency appointments for people who are arrested, where, family members are contacting me saying, oh, I know this person who was detained. Can you guys help? Like, this is really happening like all over. So grab a hold of these free resources, friends. And tonight we have at 5 o'clock, we have our newsletter going out. Subscribe if you have not yet subscribed to what I call the #1 immigration newsletter. Go to McBeanlaw.com/subscribe for to get on our newsletter list, and you're going to get more of the news tonight in our news summary email. And then on Sunday you'll get good news, a good news story. Then next week you'll get Q&A tips, immigration tips, and some other information that we share. Get on our newsletter list, guys. And then finally, I just want to mention that we have other resources available for free at no cost to you on our website. I'll play the video and I hope my audio will still be on. Let's see. Okay, so go to McBeanlaw.com/free, where you will see all these different guides that we have on our website about the removal process, about your rights, knowing your rights, about the marriage interview process, and some other information we have there about the green card process and visitor visa process. Friends, now is really the time to understand the basics of immigration so that you could be successful. Okay, so we have some basics on our website. Our team, we're from time to time we add new things as our schedule permits, but really mostly we're very busy working on the work that our clients is paying us to do, right? Legal work. So bear with us if you don't see something on our website that you need. Just kindly email us and say, hey, can you do something about whatever the topic is? And if we can make it happen, we will try to do it for you. So that's the news for today, guys. Abrego Garcia is back in the United States facing very, very serious charges. Grand jury actually indicted him. Right. So evidence was provided to them and they found it convincing enough, although the jurisdiction is questionable. But in any event, he is back here in the United States to face those charges. And then ICE arrest, it has intensified significantly this week with over 2,000 daily arrests recently this week. And in total, over 100,000 people have been arrested under this Trump administration, which is more than double the average under the Biden administration. Friends, stay plugged in. I'll be back before you on Monday with an immigration Q&A session at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. If you have not yet also seen my video about the travel ban, go watch that video, which I did just a couple of days ago, because the travel ban applies to 12 countries, and then 7 have a partial ban of students and visitors. So check that out as well. Thank you guys so much for being with me. I have 2 meetings that I've got to get to before we close up for the night. Thanks again, guys. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.